and you're here in the office of the Always Believe House. Oh, today we're going to work on your test 4.1 review. Now then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and do half of the problems. You need to do the other half, and it will be a grade. So like normal, your test review will be a grade, but I'm only going to do half of them. So make sure you complete the other half. You should easily be able to finish the other half by following the examples I set. Okay, so a magical whiteboard appears, and let's start rocking and rolling. Remember, I'm going to do half of these problems. Okay, so on the first set, I'm going to do number 2 and number 4 because those are a little bit harder. Okay, so on number 2, I'm going to distribute this negative. Remember, to do these problems, you want to get rid of all the parentheses and then group your like terms. So let's get rid of all these parentheses. I don't have a lot of room, so I'm going to go to the right. Okay, or let's just go down. The 3x squared won't change. The minus 3x won't change. Now then, this negative goes to that 3. So a negative times a positive is a negative. My number's 3, my letter's x. A negative times a negative is a positive. The number's 3, the letter is x, the exponent's 2. So you do sign, number, letter, exponent. And remember, when you add and subtract, the exponents will not change. When you add and subtract, the exponents will not change. The next step is to group your like terms, and you put them in order from the largest exponent to the smallest exponent. So I'm going to go through and single underline my biggest exponents of x squared, and I'm going to double underline my smallest exponents of just x to the 1. Now then, let's go through and group. I have 3x squared plus 3x squared. What is 3 plus 3? 3 plus 3 is 6. My letter is x, and my exponent's 2. Now then, I'm going to go to the double underlines. My double underlines are negative 3 and negative 3. Negative 3 minus 3 is a negative 6. So I'm going to write down a negative. My number 6 and my letter is x, and this is the answer. Remember, you cannot add them up if the exponents are not the same. The x squared and the x are not like terms, so that is as simplified as I can make that answer. Let's go to number 4. Remember, the first step is to rewrite the whole problem without any parentheses. The first set won't change, so I'm going to write down 9x plus 4x squared. The 2x minus 1 has a plus in front of it, so the signs won't change. I'm going to write down plus 2x minus 1, but the last parentheses has a negative. I got to distribute the negative. Now that I'm going to multiply by that negative and write down sign, number, letter. A negative times a negative is a positive. My number's 3, my letter's x. Sign, number, letter. A negative times a positive is a negative. My number's 4. Now that I've written this problem out with no parentheses, the next step is to single underline, double underline, and maybe triple underline. So let's go through. I'm going to single underline the x squared. I only have one x squared. That is going to go straight to the answer. Then I'm going to double underline my x's. And then I'm going to triple underline my 1 and my 4, my constants, okay? Now then I'm going to put these in order. I'm going to put the single underline, the double underlines, the triple underlines. The only single underline I have is 4x squared. So that goes in the answer. My double underlines are 9, 2, and 3. 9, 2, and 3. So 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 plus 3 is 14. So I'm going to have a plus 14 and my letter's x. Since there's all positive, I kept the sign, didn't I? Now then, my double underline, or my triple underlines are negative 1 and negative 4. I got more 4s than I do 1, so my sign's negative. The signs are the same. I'm going to add them up and get 5. So this right here would be my answer. So remember, write the whole problem without parentheses. Put the largest exponents first. You should just have an x squared, an x, and a number. What if the letters eliminate? They won't go in the answer. If you have 5x minus 5x, they'll eliminate, won't they? Okay, now then let's go to this next part. All we want to do is find the slope. And I'm just going to do half of them. So I'm going to do, I'll do the even ones. So the slope on this one, remember, y equals mx plus b. My slope is m. This is my slope right here. So my slope is 1/3. That's a piece of cake, isn't it? Okay, now then let's go to number 4. We need to solve this for y. So I'm going to move the 5x over, and that would be a negative 5x, correct? When you move a positive over to the right, it turns to a negative, and then I'm going to divide by 2. So I'll end up with y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 3. The 3 is the y-intercept. I want the slope. This right here is my slope. So my slope is negative 5 over 2. You'll do the same thing on 1 and 3. Let's go to the next set. I'm going to do half the problems again. I'll do 2 and 4. I'll keep doing the evens. So on number 2, I'm going to zoom in because I got more power. On number 2, you want to follow the line from left to right. You read a book from left to right, you read a line from left to right. So how do I go from my left dot to my right dot? Do I go up or down? I'm going to go down, so draw an arrow down, and then draw an arrow to the right. You make a right triangle. You either go up or down and to the right. Now then, I went down how many spaces? Count the spaces. I went down 2. That's my change in y, delta y. Delta y means change in y. And then I went to the right 2. That's my delta x. And that's how I'm going to get my slope. My slope is the change in y over the change in x, which is going to be negative 2 over 2, which is going to be negative 1. So if you look at this line, you're going down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. That is the constant rate of change. Now then, let's go to number 4. On number 4, this line's only going up or down. Remember, if it goes up and down, this is not a function, is it? If it's not a function, it's an undefined slope. Okay? So if the line does this, it's undefined. And your equation's going to be x equals something in it. If the line does this and it's flat, your slope is 0 and it's y equals something. So this slope right here is undefined. If you look at the top, you're going to have a flat line. That would be a 0 slope, wouldn't it? Okay, continuing on. Remember, you're going to do half of the problems. Let me do 2 and 4 again. Okay, on 2 and 4, we're going to do this a different way. We're going to find the change in y and the change in x again. So draw 2 sets of caret marks. And then draw 2 sets of caret marks. And then we're going to get how far apart these are. So how far is it from 0 to 2? From 0 to 2, there's 2 units. My number's getting better, so it's a positive 2. How far is it from 2 to 4? It's 2 again, right? It's getting bigger, so it's a positive. Now then, let's go to the right. From 0 to negative 8, I'm getting smaller, so my difference is negative 8. From negative 8 to negative 16, I'm getting smaller again. 8 to 16 is 8, so it's negative 8 again. Remember, this is my change in y. This is my change in x. My slope is going to be delta y over delta x, or the change in y over the change in x. So my slope is going to end up being negative 8 over 2. So negative 8 over 2 would simplify to negative 4, wouldn't it? Which is going to be my slope. You can also do y minus y over x minus x. That's exactly what we did when we did this table, though. Let's go to number 4. Okay, same thing. I'm just going to do, let's do the top 2. So we're going to do caret mark, caret mark, caret mark, caret mark. Your caret mark should end up with the same ratio. The numbers may be different, but they will simplify to the same fraction. Okay, so from 2 to 4 is 2. And from 4 to 8 is 4. These aren't the same, but our ratio should be. Let's go to the right. From 1 to 2, I'm getting bigger. My ratio is 1. And from 2 to 4, I'm getting bigger. My ratio is 2. Now then, remember, this is my delta y. This is my delta x. I could put 1 over 2, right? Or I could put 2 over 4, which would still be 1/2. The constant rate of change would be 1/2, wouldn't it? So my slope is going to end up being 1/2. Remember, you put your change in y over your change in x. That triangle, you're going to use this in science, means delta, which means change in. You'll do change in temperature, change in feet. So delta Celsius would be change in Celsius, okay? Continuing on, okay, I'm going to do 2 and 4 again. Okay, on 2 and 4, I'm going to show you how to do this a way that makes this a lot simpler. So make a t-chart. Okay, we're going to get rid of those double signs. Now then, put your x and y on your t-chart. So 20 and 8 and 9 and 16. Got it? Now then, draw your caret marks the same way we just did. What do you do to go from 20 to 9? You're getting smaller. You go down. How far apart is it? It's down 11 because I'm getting smaller in it. Now then, go to the 8 and the 16. To go from the 8 to the 16, you're getting bigger. It's a positive 8 in it. This is my delta y. This is my delta x, which is y minus y and x minus x. Your slope is change in y over change in x. So my slope is going to be 8 over negative 11 or negative 8 over 11. Usually you put the negative in the middle of the fraction bar. Piece of cake. Ho, 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 ho. Let's do the next one. This is a lot easier than doing the fraction bar minus minus in it. Okay? This should help you out on your next test. Let's put your x and y again. Draw a table. And let's put negative 1 and negative 2 and 4 and 16. Okay? To get the slope, we need to put our caret marks. And we're going to find the difference in it. To go from negative 1 to 4 on the number line, I'm getting bigger. And negative 1 to positive 4 is 5 units in it. Then to go from negative 2 to 16, I'm getting bigger. From negative 2 to 16, I got to go to negative 2 to 0, which is 2. And then from 0 to 16 and 16 more, I went over 18 spaces, didn't I? I got bigger, so I'm going to put a positive 18. This is my delta y. This is my delta x. My change in y, my change in x. Your slopes, delta y over delta x. You don't put 5 over 18, do you? You put 18 over 5. That will not simplify, so that's my slope. Ho, 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 ho. That is F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Just like eating an Oreo cookie. Ho, ho, ho. Now then, let's go to the next one. Write the equation on the line that goes to the points, okay? So we're going to find the slope, and then we're going to, let's do point slope. We'll plug it into point slope and switch it, okay? And I'm going to do 2 and 4 for you. So let's do number 2. Okay, I'm going to put a t-chart over here, x and y. And now then I'm going to write down my x and my y. My x is negative 3 and 1, my negative 17 and 2, right? Those are my points. Now then, let's get our caret marks. From negative 3 to negative 16, I'm getting smaller, aren't I? I'm going left. And how far left am I going? I'm going 14 units left. And then from 1 to 2, I'm getting bigger by 1, so it's 1. So this right here is my delta y, my delta x. My slope is going to be negative 1 over 14 in it. That's my m. Okay? Now then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to pick this as my x and my y. So I know my slope and I know my x and y. I'm going to write down point slope. And remember, we're going to fill in here, here, and here, aren't we? Right? Okay, so y, the opposite of 1 is minus 1, equals, my m is negative 1 over 14, parentheses, x, the opposite of negative 3 is a plus 3. So I end up with this in it. Technically, you have written the equation of the line. You could stop, because that is the equation of the line and point slope. Let's switch this to mx plus b. So remember, when you do this, the denominator goes left, the numerator goes right. To get rid of that fraction, I'm going to distribute, or bluebell truck, the denominator to the first 3 terms. The 14s in the middle cancel out, and this negative 1 goes to the right. So I've got to multiply 4 times. So 14 times y is 14y. 14 times negative 1 is negative 14. Negative 1 times x is negative x. And negative 1 times 3 is a negative 3. The next step is to move this term to the right. So I'm going to take that 14. It's a lot of steps. This is the hardest thing you did in this class in the fall. This was the steppiest thing to do. It's the hardest thing, so don't get frustrated. So we're going to move that 14 over. I'm going to add 14, and I'm going to get 14y equals negative x plus 11. Everyone with me? So all I did is I took the 14 and moved it over. Negative 3 plus 14 is 11. Now then I'm going to divide by 14. Notice my y-intercept's a fraction in it. So I'm going to get y equals negative 1 over 14x plus chimney crickets. Sorry about that. Let me get the program back up. Technical difficulties. Make it go faster, right? Guys, you look really cool if you do this. Like if your cell phone's not loading, you just do this and it makes it load. Here it comes. Yes! Okay, we're right here. So we got negative 1 over 14x. Let me get my pen back. And then plus 11 over 14. This right here would be the slope-intercept form. Remember, this isn't easy. This was the hardest thing you did in the fall. So try to get rep down. Do the next two that I'm going to do. Let's do this one together. Okay, remember the first thing you want to do is find the slope. So let's do this. Put x and y. Let's do our slope of the table. So we got negative 6 and 9 and 7 and negative 9, right? Make your caret marks. Now then, negative 6 to 7, I'm getting bigger, aren't I? From negative 6 to 7, you're going to go from negative 6 to 0, 0 to 7. You're getting bigger by 13. That's my delta x. From 9 to negative 9, I'm getting smaller, and I'm getting smaller. I'm going down 18, aren't I? 9 to 0, 0 to negative 9, that's down 18. So my slope is going to be negative 18 over 13. That's going to be my m. My x and y, let's just do this one, x and y. Now then, let's write down point slope. Okay, we're going to plug in the slope and the x and the y into point slope. So I'm going to have y, let me change colors here. The opposite of 9 is a minus 9 equals, my m is negative 18 over 13. These are big numbers. Parentheses x, the opposite of minus 6 is a plus 6. Now the denominator goes to the left, the numerator goes to the right. The denominator goes to the left, the numerator goes to the right. We've got to get rid of that fraction. There's a 13 on the bottom, so I'm going to distribute 13 to those first three terms, and these 13s will divide out to 1. And then this negative 18 is going to go to here and here. And now I got 4 multiply problems, and you might have to use a calculator with this. So 13 times y is 13y. 13 times negative 9 is negative 117 equals negative 18 times x is negative 18x. And negative 18 times 6 is negative 108. You probably will not get a problem like this on STAR because it is like a huge fraction, okay? This is a tough problem here. Now then, the next step is to move that term to the right. So I'm going to plus 117 across, aren't I? Plus 117. This is going to give me 13y equals negative 18x. Negative 108 plus 117 is a plus 9. Now then, I'm just going to divide by 13. And I'm going to get y equals negative 18 over 13x, which is my slope. And then plus my y-intercept will be a fraction, plus 9 over 13. That is F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Remember, this is the hardest thing you had to do, so don't get frustrated if you're having trouble. Okay, let's turn the page. Let's go to the next one, and I'm going to do, let me do the evens. So I will do the evens for you, okay? Farmer must add the area. We're going to add the areas of the two plots, okay? This is one of the areas, and this is the other areas. Write a polynomial, we're just going to add them up. So let's write down 3x squared plus 7x minus 5, and we're going to add these up, right? So let's do this a different way. Write down plus, and then stack them up. So put the x squared under the x squared, put the x under the x, and put the 11 under the 5. Draw a bar. Now then, we're just going to go straight down and add. Since we're not subtracting, we don't have to write them left or right. Now then, what's 3x squared plus 5x squared? And I don't have room right here. It's 8x squared, isn't it? 7 minus 4 is a positive 3, isn't it? And my letter's x. Sign, number, letter. And then lastly, negative 5 plus 11 is a plus 6. This would be the sum of those two polynomials. Ho, 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 ho. That's what fun looks like. Ho, ho, ho. And lastly, number 4, write an expression that represents the perimeter. So let's write down all the edges up. This would be 3, this would be 6, and this is going to be tough right here. From right here to right here, I got to subtract these two. So let's write down 2x plus 5 minus x plus 2. And I got to put the x plus 2 in parentheses. Let's do it this way. So I'm subtracting the top edge from the bottom edge, right? I know how far this edge is. I know how long this one is. I know how long that one is. That one, that one, that one. But I do not know this edge, do I? So I've got to subtract the long edge from the top edge, which is what I'm doing right here. I'm going to distribute the negative. Now then I'm going to have 2x plus 5 minus x minus 2. I'm going to single underline and double underline. 2x minus 1x is x. 5 minus 2 is a plus 3. So this edge right here is going to be x plus 3. Now that I'm going to add up all the edges up. Now that this is what I want you to do. Put your x's in one column and put your numbers in the other column. So this first one I'm going to have is x plus 2. Now then this 3 is going to go in this column. The 6 will go right here. The 2x plus 5. And then this 6 will go underneath it. And then I'm going to add an x plus 3. And then I have a 3. And I wish that picture wasn't there. Okay, notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 edges, don't I? Now then I can go straight down and add up all the numbers. Piece of cake, right? Okay, so 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. You could do this on a calculator. 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 plus 6 is 22. 22 plus 3 is 25. And 25 plus 3 is 28. And then 1x plus 2x plus 1x is 4x. So my perimeter is 4x plus 28. Ho, 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 ho. You could write this down left to right, but you're going to have to group. Kind of easier to put all your x's in one column, all your numbers in one column. You've got to add up all 7 edges though. Your test will be tomorrow. You're going to do wonderful, okay? You are going to do amazing. Remember, you are awesome. You are created to do wonderful things. And you are amazing. Oh, oh, oh.